Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for participating with us for the second day of training. This opportunity is a special one because now we are really focused in on giving our kids the opportunities that they would not be able to have unless they're in our type of program. Coding is now the biggest thing that is taking place in our schools today. And most of our magnet programs, especially in Florida, we're not introducing coding the way that it should be. We're introducing it in middle school. In the 21st century program, we're hoping that our kids will get at least 5 years consecutively of coding and robotics. So you have a tremendous opportunity to open this up to the point where our kids are not going to be shy about what they know, and the experiences are going to be great. If you have any questions, make sure you ask Paulo, Tim, or I, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Everybody should have robots on their school sites. Thank you so much and enjoy the show.
Awesome. All right, I will take it from here. Yes. Yes. Okay. So hi, everybody. Tim Tomaso. I'm with Wonder Workshop. I'm going to share my screen, do this and this, and go into slideshow mode. There we go. Okay. So let's get to it. That's me. Hi. Yep. We good? We're good. Okay. I saw the green lines. I figured we were good. Okay. So Wonder Workshop, we are basically a Silicon Valley company, computer startup type of company. It's been around since 2015 out near San Mateo, California. We make you the robot that's sitting on your desk at this point in time, hopefully, or in the box on your desk at this point in time. We make one of the safest robots there is out there, all the COPPA compliant and kid safe stuff. We pay pretty careful attention to that. So, the robot's not going to do anything dangerous. It's not going to do anything where we need to worry about COPPA compliance. Taking a look at your robot, okay? Our solution strategy is to put an ultra durable robot and some apps and curriculum in front of your students and teach them the basic 6 building blocks of coding. We do this with activities and puzzles and challenges. We make it a lot of fun, but the fun is from the robot that runs around on the floor, basically. The robot that speaks, that senses objects in front of it, that turns and dances, that lights up and changes colors and does a lot of things to hold the students' attention at a very high level. So this is what I'm going to be introducing to you today. So what you have in the box, if you haven't opened it yet or you haven't pulled it apart yet, you can do that now. At least open it. Don't turn the robot on just yet. If you don't have a robot in front of you, just kind of pretend, I guess, and look at the pictures as we go along. What you have in the box is the Dash robot proper. Probably weighs about 3 pounds, measures about 30 centimeters square if you were up and down, left and right. And this is your robot. I'll go into more detail about that in just a moment. We do send one orange charge cord, put mine away, but that's this guy right here that comes in every one. I don't know if they're all still orange. I wonder how much longer they'll still be orange until they start shipping black ones or something like that.
They are shipping black, Tim.
Are they black? I was wondering.
Yeah, they are black. I've got one out.
2 building brick connectors come with every robot. These actually snap into the robot in the circular sections that you see on the head and the body of the robot. I will talk about those in more detail in a little while as well. That's the only contents for the box that you should have. I know you've got multiple robots, which means multiple charging cords, and the fine people at Eduporium were kind enough to supply you with the means for charging all of them at the same time. So that's awesome. You should have all the equipment you need. So let's talk about your robot for a little while, okay? So if you look at it up close and pick it up, what you're going to notice first, if you look at my screen, and I realize I'm sharing right now, but if you look at my little picture on the screen, how I'm handling the robot from its base, okay? I'm holding it from its base, purposely not picking it up by its head. The head is actually a movable mechanism. The head can rotate not all the way around, but left and right, and it also bobs up and down. With this mechanism, it's not delicate by any sense of the imagination, but if you carry the robot around by its head constantly, you're going to wear it out faster. It's not going to be as responsive. It won't be as accurate. It is one of the parts on the robot that's sort of exposed. So we teach the kids, we teach our teachers, pick the robot up by its base. Now, when you're looking at a robot and you're seeing the diagram here, you can look at your own robot and see all these things here. Starting at the top of the robot, there are 4 little action buttons on the top of the robot there. The first one in the middle, we call the action button, the white one there. And then we have a numbered button 1, 2, and 3, and those are designated by little dots. If you're thinking about a simple program, when I press button 1, have the robot move forward, turn around, and speak. When I press button 2, I want the robot to move backward, change all its colors red, and then play the sirens from the fire engine, that sort of thing. So we can program the buttons with functions for variables, and we use them as part of the programming. So those are the action buttons on the top of the robot. Coming down the front of the robot, you're going to see the eyeball mechanism, and that's what we do call the eye. Dash has a single eye. Inside of the eye, there are actually 16 LED lights that you can turn on and off. So we will do little activities where the robot's eyes will all be on or off. We'll make smiley faces and whiskers and have it spin around and things like that. There's a lot of activities we do with just those little lights in there. You can dim them, you can make them brighter, that sort of thing. Moving down, there's a chest light as well. That's that little triangular light that's in the front of the robot. While we're talking about it, this is what we designate as the front of the robot. Okay, when you look at the robot from the top, it's not real clear what the front end of the robot is. The kids will get used to it pretty quick, but if they're ever curious when you're first starting, the chest light is the front of Dash's chest, and that's going forward is from the front. That particular light is also an LED that can change colors, red, blue, green, so on and so forth. The kids will change the color of the lights to change the mood of the robot, or make them look angry, all the lights turn red, make them look sad, all the lights turn blue. It's that sort of thing. There are sensors in front of the robot. These are simple IR sensors that pick up objects, don't pick them up, sense objects in front of it. But the object has to be tall enough. Notice that the sensors are about 3/4 or an inch off the ground. If I put a pen out in front of the robot, it is not going to see that. What I need is something that is going to trip the sensors out in front of the robot. So it's just a beam that goes across. And as long as it's tall enough, that's something that the robot can sense an object in front of it. So you can plow it over or turn around and go around it, that sort of thing. Okay. Okay, I'm going to flip the robot on its back right now, just to show you the treads that are underneath it. This is how Dash gets around. These are 2 tank treads. So when both of them are going forward, the robot's moving forward, both backward, backward. When one is in place and the other one is spinning, he's going to pivot and make a right-hand turn, or he's going to pivot and make a left-hand turn. This is basically how Dash moves around. The wheel in the back does not propel him, it simply pivots him and allows him to move smoothly. One thing I will bring up as a caution, in addition to holding the robot by its base, if you ever notice the robot drifting in one direction or the other, it's not steering properly, it's running a little bit bumpy, check the treads underneath. These guys will pick up pieces of tape and hair, chunks of carpeting, anything sticky will get wrapped in there, pull it out, clean it up as best you can. It should go back to driving normal. That's about all the maintenance we're going to ask you guys to do on your robots at any point in time. Keep the wheels clean, maybe clean them off with a disinfectant cloth from time to time, but that's about as wet as they should ever get. They are not waterproof. Okay. All right. So that's what's happening underneath the robot. You'll see mine has a name on it. Okay. You guys have multiple robots. One of your activities will probably be to give them all a name. They can't all be Dash. It's going to get confusing when the kids are trying to grab one or the other. So a simple activity is to give them all names, come up with a theme, pick a color or something like that, however you want to do it. Okay, continuing with your tour of the robot. And if you have questions, please feel free to ask. The power button is located on the left-hand side of the robot. I should be doing this with the screen off now. I think about it. You guys are all looking at a funny picture. This would be much better. There you go. The power button right there, okay, is tucked into the shoulders of the robot there, so you don't bump into it accidentally. On the opposite side then is the charging, okay? It's a USB to an Android cord. It's pretty simple. We send you a cord, but if you lose it or it, goes home mysteriously because it's orange, you can buy another one at Walmart, CVS or whatever. They're a couple bucks. Okay. USB to Android. All right. Now you're going to notice some other items here that are the circles on the robot. They're on the left, they're on the right, they're on the back. Those are for our attachments. In this case, the building brick connector. So I can simply snap that in to the robot, and what it gives me is a 2x4 Lego surface that I can then take some Legos to and snap on to create whatever it is I'm going to need for that particular day. Maybe I'm building a lance, maybe I'm building a shelf, or I'm be put 2 of them on the front, and I'm going to build some sort of bulldozer to push things around. I might put them on the back to build some sort of trailer or something like that. So what it gives you is the ability to connect Legos pretty much anywhere on the robot to perform other tasks. So we send those with the robot. That's what they're for. They're actually child fingerproof. They do snap in, they will rotate, but the kids can't get their fingers in there. It's a patented little tool our engineers are very proud of. You can't pinch your fingers in there. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to take those off, continue the tour. The back of the robot here is where the sound emanates from. That's basically his speaker there. Turn him on again. You got to look really, really close to see Dash's ears. Just below his neck, there is a tiny little hole. It's very hard to see. There it is. You'll see 3 of them. There are 2 holes in the front and 1 hole in the back. Those are actually Dash's ears. That's how he hears things. That's the sound goes in there, allows the robot to triangulate and find the sound source in the room. We'll do some activities where you will hear the sound of the voice in order to get the robot to react. So that's his ears. Nobody ever clogs them, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. So that's your Dash robot, plain and simple. Questions about that? Well, I've got it on the screen. Otherwise, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. And I'm going to keep sharing here to here. Okay. So there we go. How's it look when you get it down in the classroom? Now, I'm going to show you how to use the robots very shortly, so don't hit the panic button just yet. But what's it going to look like once you get it in front of the kids? We recommend that you work the kids in small groups. Groups of 3 is what we recommend. You can work them in groups of 2. You can work them in larger groups. Just be ready to keep them busy. What that looks like is pretty simple. A robot wrangler, programmer, journalist, call whatever you want. Somebody's got to handle the device. Somebody's got to handle the robot on the floor. And somebody's got to be recording all this or writing down your answers or doing your measuring or whatever the case may be. That's your team. That's your group working with the robot. They will work much more quickly through our curriculum, working in teams, working together. It's hard to go from your device to the robot on the floor, back to your device to the robot on the floor. It's hard to do on your own. It really is. So having a partner or 2 really helps. So we're recommending groups of 3 while you're doing this sort of thing. Laying out your space. You need room. You got to have some room for the robots to run around. So, think about the big space that you have on the floor. A lot of the classrooms that I work with have that big old carpet that the kids all sit on for one reason or another, attendance and activities. That's a good space. Someplace where the robots can be, where the kids aren't going to be kicking them across the room. So think about some open space, something you can work with. If it's, even if it's open floor, if you've got a grid on the floor or a pattern on the carpeting, the kids can measure squares, estimate distances. You can do activities from one end to the other, have out of bounds, have a designated space. Always comes in handy. The kids know where the robots go, where they're not supposed to be with their big shoes. Okay. Charging your robots, we talked about it. A hub, some way to plug them all in, some sort of cart to move them around. There's a million ways to do it. These are pretty durable robots. They don't need to be padded in foam or protected in any, just find some place to put them where you can charge them and they're, out of the way. And, if it's on wheels, great, even better. You can wheel them into the closet. Okay. All right. So at this point, what I'd like you guys to do is to turn on your robots and turn on your apps. And we are going to connect to our robots and do a little bit of work with the robots themselves. So I'm going to stop sharing here for a moment. I'm going to share to a different page. There we go. All right. So I'm going to turn on a robot. Okay. Now, there's a couple of different ways to get to our software, depending on what kind of device you are using. Most of you, I think, are going to go to a web page to get this done. But if you have a iPad or you have some sort of tablet and you are able to use apps, you can most certainly download the app from Google Play or wherever you get it and work off the app straight from the screen. What I'm going to put on my webpage is going to look just like the app anyway. But for those of you who are joining us along, if you've turned on a robot, hopefully it's got a charge. If you turned on a robot, you go to the webpage that I just put into the chat, code.makewonder.com, and you'll be looking at what I'm looking at on my screen. So I'll give you a couple seconds to do that because I'm a very patient person and I don't want to do it too quickly. It might take you a few seconds to get your device open and whatnot. So it's code.makewonder.com. And it'll direct you to this landing page, which allows you to choose whether you're going to use the Dash and Dot app, which is what we are going to use, or the Q app, which is something you guys are not going to need to worry about today. So I'm going to click on the left-hand side as soon as I find my mouse. Where'd it go? Oh. To escape out of that, don't I? There we go. Okay, so I'll come over here and I'm going to click on Dash and Dot. All right, now this is going to prompt you to jump in as a student, not as the teacher. So this is what your students are going to see when they first pop in, and yours might look a little bit different than mine does right now. Let me get out. And am I going to disconnect from myself? I'm not going to disconnect from myself. So see, this is what we're going to bump into with the problem, gentlemen and ladies, is getting you guys all connected because you all have an account, but we want to play as students first. How do I want to do this? No, we're going to play first. All right, so you guys are going to be on a simple device profile. So what you should be seeing when you first log in is going to look a little something like this, okay? Now, there are a few of you who have already set up a classroom. You know who you are because you're seeing a different message right now on your screen that's asking you to connect to a classroom. Each of you have been invited and are going to be ready to set up your classroom. And I'm thinking we should do that like right now and skip to that part of the presentation, because the sooner we set up your classrooms, the better. And I don't want to do this without setting up their classrooms. I didn't think about this, you guys, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. Bear with me a moment. I'm going to skip to a different slide. I was thinking we could do this the other way around. We can't. I was already set up the other way around. You guys can't do it that way. So my apologies. Okay. All right. I'm going to put a new address. Oops. I'm going to put a new address into the chat. And Dr. Pauling is right. All of you guys have been invited to do this already. So I'm going to put you in here. That is the portal. This is where the teachers go. Now, I'm assuming Dr. Pauling used all your school emails. I know that for a fact. So you should be able to just sign. Well, no, they have to sign up first. Absolutely have to sign up first. So Dr. Pauling, can you pull up the list of everybody's who's registered? We could do that right now, I think.
I have the list up already in front of me.
Let me go right here, put this on the screen. All right, you guys, you got a letter that looked a little bit like this, which should have come from Dr. Pauling, and it should have invited you to basically become a part of our program here and have access to everything I'm trying to show you before you actually have access to it. So again, my apologies for that. Oops, not like that. Wrong button. There you go. Okay. So these letters should have come in your email. They do come from us. It could be something that ends up in your spam or your junk mail if you don't see it. It should have come in the last 24 hours because we just set all this up. And if you have that, it's just a matter of clicking on the link. That's the letter on the left is what it looks like. And the letter on the right is going to come through after you've clicked on the link. And it's not a difficult procedure. It's pretty simple to get set up. All right. It gets a little bit ahead of where I wanted to be, but I think, there we go. Okay. Caught up. Okay, so I'm not sure how long it's going to take for them to all do that sort of thing. Let me see what I got in the chat here. Guess you guys could let us know if you don't have an invite. Yeah, I don't want to get too far behind here. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it looks like once you guys get in. Whether you have access or not, you will have this video to clue you in. So let me switch screens here again and get back over to the portal. Okay, so once you have a login and a password, you're all set up. You're going to come to this page. Again, this is portal.makewonder.com. It's in the chat. And you're going to sign in. Try and sign in. Get me in there. Come on. There we go. And this is the teacher view that you're going to see. The very first thing I'm going to bring to your attention is that we have set up a training course for you. You simply hit the more button and scroll down to where it says professional development. Okay. We talked about this with the previous class. We didn't talk about it first. I'm talking about it first now. It's probably the most important thing you can do. It's a little bit of self-training. It talks about why you're teaching computer science, how you're going to go about doing it, and shows you how to incorporate our robots into a classroom full of students. So it's beneficial. Probably won't take you very long, but that's your professional development. When I click on it, it's taking me to a new page. This is in the presentation. You'll have it, but you simply scroll down to where it says your course here, and your login and password are going to work here for you as well. Okay. So again, professional development course. When you log in, scroll down, hit the more button, because it's one of the bottom tiles, and hit professional development, and you can start your course right from here, and just scroll down your course here. Okay. Now, the other tools that we have provided for you are basically listed in chronological order of use on the left-hand side. The home button is where you start and where you want to go back to if you're starting over. And following that is going to be setting up classrooms. Setting up classrooms, you guys are going to do on your own. Once you have a login and a password, it's going to ask you to create a classroom. If there are classrooms already been created for you, all you're going to have to do is go to the classroom and put some students in. Putting students in is as simple as entering a student's name, a profile name, and deciding whether you'd like the read aloud support on for that student or not. You guys' kids are getting a little bit older. The first group we worked with, they were younger. You guys probably can just turn this off for everybody. Now, student name right here, that's what you and only you see. So if I put my whole name in there, there you go. Like my mom's yelling at me, right? All that you're going to see for a profile name is what the student's going to see in the device. Okay, so we can tweak that. You can number your students, you can give them nicknames, you can say that they're team 1 player A, whatever you need to follow rule wise for profile names. That's what the student's going to see on their device. So it defaults, we add a student. When I put another one in, this is going to be like that. You'll notice it automatically truncates it to eliminate the last name. If you want the last name in there, you just type it over, add the student. Okay, so there's a number of different ways to pull your students in. You guys don't have a lot of kids. Numbering them, putting them in one at a time might be the easiest way to do it. If you wanted to put a bunch of students in at the same time, you've got some options here. Okay, there's a number of different ways to do this. Again, you guys don't have a lot of students, so it shouldn't be that difficult for you to put them in. A CSV will do it quickly. Okay, I'm going to go to a classroom that's already full. So, this is what it looks like. A couple of kids got read aloud support on. Oh, My robot's getting bored over here. He just yawned. Yeah. Sorry about that, buddy. Okay. So setting up classrooms is going to look like that. Once you've got your classroom set up, what it basically looks like is you tracking the students through our curriculum. Okay. The first set of curriculum we'd like you to do after you set up your classrooms are the Blockly puzzles. The Blockly puzzles are designed to do two different things. One, to introduce the 6 basic building blocks of coding: a loop, a sequence, pardon me, conditional, a variable. And two, to introduce all the tools on the robot, all the things that I showed you, the buttons, the sensors, the speakers, the microphone, all that kind of stuff needs to be properly introduced to the kids. So we're going to do that lesson by lesson, puzzle by puzzle. And you are going to track them through this, okay? You can see what this is all about, read all about it. They're simple little lessons that we're asking the kids and you to go through, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to track them through that, and this is what that looks like, all right? And we're going to do a little bit of this work in just a second, but let me show you what this looks like for now, all right? So students in the classroom, here they are along the left-hand side. Lessons that we're expecting them to do, starting with driving school along the top, all the way down to farm animal noise machine, okay? There's 72 lessons in here for the kids to do. They start pretty easy. They get more difficult as you go along, okay? Driving school is pretty easy. Here's lesson 2. Connect the blocks to teach Dash how to drive forward, all right? It's 2 blocks, connect them, the robot goes forward. Not very hard to do. Things get a little bit trickier when we get, over here, start pulling up, variables, and doing some heavier programming for this type of stuff, okay? The students are being tracked as they go through. What you will see is the instructor. The kids don't see any of this. This is all instructor view. You're the only person seeing any of this. When a student completes a lesson, they get a green check mark. When a student does not complete the lesson or bumps into a trouble, you're going to get the orange exclamation mark. When you click on the orange exclamation mark, you get basically how much time the student spent and their solution. You also get the suggested solution side by side, so you can take a look and see where they went wrong, how you're going to adjust. When I see this less than a minute on the puzzle, I'm figuring it's end of the period, or they just didn't get enough time to get started on it. Whatever the case may be, I probably give them some more time, but you can provide them with more resources if need be. There are challenge cards that zero in on this type of thing. We can send the lesson home. We can, zero in on some cross-curricular ideas for what's going on here. And of course, whatever kind of computational thinking skills they're working on, that's listed in here as well. So you've got the means and the tools to allow the kids to move their way through the curriculum unhindered. You can lock them down and unlock challenges or reset their progress. You can help them when they get stuck. And more importantly than all that, you can get ahead of the kids and say, okay, terrible troll of trepidation. That sounds difficult. Using variables to get past the troll of variables. Okay, this is a lesson that's going to take some time for the kids to work their way up to. Level F is pretty difficult, but I, as the instructor, can now prepare a lesson, have a solution ready to go, do it myself to have a better understanding of what's going on, and maybe even prepare some cross-curricular activities for the kids before they get to this to better prepare them. So I've got all the curriculum here at my fingertips for the robot, ready to go, and it's all here for you guys. Now, this is pretty easy stuff at first. Driving school is not difficult. You start using the recording and the playback, and eventually the sensors, the difficulty moves up. It's going to get more difficult as we go along, okay? All right, any questions about what I'm showing you here, tracking the kids through the Blockly puzzles and setting up your classrooms? Always pause here. There's typically a question, sometimes. Maybe I'm just getting good at explaining this. Who knows? All right. So as far as you guys go, you're getting to a grade level where you could attempt some of the more advanced curriculum, okay? Coding Pathways starts to deal with coding levels D, E, and F. If you're familiar with how code.org works, A, B, and C is the easy stuff. D, E, and F is where they start introducing variables and conditionals and making things a little bit trickier. The lessons take longer, they're harder to explain. We provide videos and little segments that the kids can jump through in order to explain some of these more difficult concepts. We explain coding pathways in some detail. you have to assign coding pathways to your students. So you would actually have to look at what it is you want the kids to learn. I always start them with the refreshers here. If I'm going to assign this to the kids, I have to assign a pathway. I'm going to pick my classroom, the one I was showing you earlier. I'll select all my students, and I'm going, well, I'm not going to select everybody. That's mean. I'll give it to just to these two guys, and I'll assign that pathway to these two individuals. Now, when they log in, they're going to have some new assignments to do. But I, as the instructor, have to give this to them. They are not able to find this on their own. They can't unlock it magically by plowing their way through the rest of our curriculum. They have to be assigned this particular curriculum, the coding pathways. Same thing with the challenge cards. Same thing with the math activities. Challenge cards might be more your guys' speed. Challenge cards are quick hitting lessons, 5-10 minute type of lessons that you can do in multiples. When you assign challenge cards, you pick a grade level. Let's say 3rd grade for you guys today. We're going to work on, let's do loops, not sequences. And here's some quick lessons we can do. Let's do some events too. There we go. And I've got some simple lessons that I can do here. When I open up one of these, it might have you put a few objects on the floor. It might have the robot running into the wall or using its sensors to run around. It's not going to be a difficult lesson. It's going to be pretty simple, and it shouldn't take them more than 5 or 10 minutes. So these are a way to practice some very specific type of functions. We'll say all grades. You know, if I want to get specific with something, we provide you with more curriculum. These are short lessons that you can assign, again, to the kids. So in order to assign them, you've got to pick it and assign it. Pick your classroom. I got too many classrooms. I'm going to clean this up. This one we'll give to everybody and assign it. So everybody who logs in is not only going to have, well, a couple of them are going to have some coding pathways to do, but the rest of them are going to have some challenge cards to do. And I have math activities as well. Again, we explain everything in some detail. And where you see the assign button, you are actually going to have to go in there, pick a lesson, and assign it to your students using the assign button and picking kids from the classroom. So that's the advanced curriculum. It gets more advanced as it goes down. So start with the Blockly puzzles. The kids should really understand how to move the robots around, record, play back, and change the color of the lights before you attempt any of this stuff. Otherwise, they're just going to get frustrated, plain and simple. Okay.
Hey, Tim, this is Palo. Just
Yes.
a clarification. So each of the teachers here will have a different teacher code, correct?
Yep.
And so when the actual kids go in, they'll see a different viewpoint, right? They won't see all this stuff. They'll see what activities have been assigned to them, et cetera, correct?
Here we go. What's the student going to see? All right. So I'm going to go to my classroom. Remember my classroom with all, well, Palo knows who all those guys are. The rest of you probably don't. But my classroom, here's all my students. First name and last initial. And for the people who I changed somebody to a 099 and I changed somebody to a 045. This is what the student sees when they are eventually logging in. What you will see if you start playing with your program when you log in. So student, when they pop in, the first thing you're going to see, the one thing that we highlight, how many puzzles has this person completed? Steve's only done 1. You know, Gary here, 7, 2. You know, that's what we want them doing first and foremost. Now you will see that because I assigned a coding pathway to this student and a couple of cards, they've got all these assignments to do. I'm not worried about assignments. Where we want them to be and what you're going to have access to are the puzzles. Okay. And that's where everybody should start. Not only your students, but you as well. You want to practice with this when you got some free time in the building, go right to the puzzles and try a couple. Okay. I'm going to show you what a puzzle looks like. I'm going to turn on my robot. I know I had you guys turn yours on a little early. I probably should have told you to turn them off. The batteries might all be dead now. Their batteries last a long time. I'm going to connect to my robot. You are seeing what it looks like to connect to a robot. You do need Bluetooth capability on the device. I'm assuming most of you guys are going to have that capability. So pairing to a robot is pretty simple. This little screen that comes up, I did not pause here with the last group, so we're going to get this into the video. This is where you change the name of the robot. So if I wanted Christoph to be something else, I could simply come in here, type in a new name, hit the check mark, and we'll get a new name for the robot. You also have volume controls here, so I can turn the sound down on the robot from here, and that's a pretty simple thing to bring up back and forth when you first launch the robot. Okay, gonna hit continue. I am in the puzzles as we speak. This is what the puzzle checklist looks like. There's a lot of different parts to go through here, but suffice to say the kids are doing a different activity in each of these little circles. Driving school. Driving school is how we start. I'm going to go back one lesson here because, oh no, I'm on the first lesson. Okay. The very first lesson is to press the start button. It is in the lower left-hand corner. It's green. It's got a little play button on it. Most of the kids find it right away. And when you hit the play button, Dash is going to make the car engine noise that you can see right here. That's a transportation noise. It's not transporting anything. You'll get used to the different colors and what they signify. This is a sound color right now. So I get the little sound. The robot tells me I did a good job. I hit the play button again, and I'm moving on to the next puzzle. Okay. Now, you're working with kindergartners. This is still not going to take more than a minute. All right. You're working with older kids. They should fly through these. Don't be alarmed when they finish the first 10 lessons in a matter of 5 minutes. That's normal for kids who can read. They should get through this pretty quickly. Okay. Now we're showing the students how to move a block of code from one location and put it under the start button. That's kind of important. Okay. Anything that happens under the start happens when we hit the start button. Once they grasp that concept, it's pretty easy for them to start this block coding process. I'm going to hit play. The robot's going to go forward 50 centimeters. Beautiful. It's done. Great job. Awesome. Now moving on. Next lesson is actually showing the kids where the tool palette is. You can notice there's only one block on my screen, the start one. I need a tool. I click on where it says drive here and I open up the drive tools. Notice again, we've only given them access to one tool. We are definitely going to drive them, in a specific direction. We're not going to give them access to any of the other tools. Otherwise, you got robots running around all over the place and nobody's doing the lessons. So they get one tool, they pull it in, snap it in place, hit the play button, backwards they go. Okay, so we're going to fly through these first couple of lessons. You guys are going to fly through these first couple of lessons. Now, the kids are going to get to lesson 4 and they're going to build their very first sequence. They don't know it. We're not even telling them, but this is what a sequence is. A sequence is doing it in order. Forward, backward, forward again. Okay, first step, forward. Second step, backward, then I'm forward again. If I don't do it in this order, it's not going to work. I'm not going to pass, right? These are the only tools I have. I got to figure out how this is going to work. Once I get them in order, I'm going to press the play button. What I'll point out here is on the left-hand side of each block, there's a little circle that will light up as it's doing that particular step, which is very important when you're troubleshooting and looking for an error in a longer program. So forward, knocking my Legos all over the place. Oh, shot that one right across the room. There you go. Good job. Give them a little more room there. So this is me progressing my way through the puzzles. Finding the trash can, very important, okay? Delete the turn left block. Okay, so I'm going to grab the turn left block, and all the way in the lower right-hand corner, you will see a trash can, very familiar icon the kids are going to get used to early, but this is how you delete a block, okay? You're understanding the basics here. This is what we're doing. Obviously, the puzzles are going to get more complicated as they go along, but we're showing them the basics. So you do understand the importance and why we stress how many puzzles need to be completed, okay? There's a bunch of them. We want the kids to finish them all. This is the fastest way to teach them how to use all the tools that they have at their fingertips with the robot, okay? Any questions over that stuff? Okay. As they are going along, I'm going to switch back to the teacher view here and go back to my classroom. Now you've got a better reference for what it is that they're doing here. Okay, that was driving school. That was the first couple lessons we had them doing, right? Press the play button. That's pretty easy stuff. Even getting to the one where we're going backward and forward. It shouldn't take the kids more than a minute to figure that kind of stuff out. Should be pretty quick. Okay, so that is how you are basically tracking their progress, how you can give them more information as they go along. And how you're going to get started with the puzzles. Please, please, please do the puzzles first. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and look at the time. Hey, I got that like 4 minutes faster than last time. All right, so we got time for questions. Hopefully I've unlocked a few at this point. Remember, you all are on mute. So if you have a question you didn't type in and you'd like to just say it, we can tackle those now. I know it's a lot of information. Remember, we're recording this and I'm going to give you access to my PowerPoint and the recording. So you'll have links and pictures and, as much as we can give you without me being in the room, telling you do or don't.
And then, hey, while they're kind of queuing up questions and stuff like that, Tim, the next step, once they get, kind of familiar with it, is to actually go through that course, correct? The getting started with that.
Yes, that getting started course is pretty important, you guys. If you take that class, you're going to get some computer science knowledge for sure. But more importantly than that, how to, day 1 and day 2 with the robots in the classroom.
Yeah, and the one thing we advise is it is getting started with Dash and Dot. You don't have to, you can skip through the sections on Dot. It is completely self-paced. So just something that you can do at your pace and when you're comfortable, et cetera.
Yep. More resources.
Yeah.
And a good one. Yep. Yeah, it's professional development specifically for our robots. You can't beat that.
Yeah, and it's just a reminder while we're waiting to see if there's any other last-minute questions. I was at a seminar at Harvard Graduate School of Education. Professor Dede was there. He follows educational technology, and he said one of the critical things in building more STEM skills in students is catching them early, right? So in catching them in kindergarten and first grade, like you guys will be teaching second and third. It is so critical because he says their skills, their interests are built in elementary school. So
absolutely,
it was a great reminder that kind of aligns to what you guys are trying to do with this program.
Yeah, for you guys, one of the more important tools here, I'll share my screen one more time, is right here, resetting progress and unlocking challenges. If you've got one of those students is gonna take this and run with it, and I'm never going to keep them from doing it all, you can decide where to set them to, how far you want them to go in any given day. You can reset their progress if they get too far ahead, unlock more challenges for the kids who are struggling if need be. You have that ability through the software. And there are those students who will do every single lesson in a weekend if you give them the ability to do so. You probably know who they are. I certainly did know who they were in my classroom. So yeah, if you if you want to stay ahead of them, you might have to lock a few of them down.
And the other thing to keep in mind is once you access your Class Connect license, and from the teacher side, you can also access the virtual robot, correct, Tim?
Yes.
So if you're at home, you don't have a robot, but you're at home in the weekend and you got an hour, you want to kind of play around with it, you're able to do that virtually. So it's just something to kind of see how you can do that too.
Here, we can show you real quick. So here I am back on my programming screen where I was earlier, and I do have a robot on currently, but I'm just going to turn off Christoph here. And once the computer realizes I don't have a robot connected, it will throw the virtual tool onto the right-hand side of the screen. And the kids are going to have access to this, which is why I mentioned locking them down. As you can see, I'm picking up in my puzzles right where I left off. So I just did that virtually, finished that lesson. And if I'm not locked down and my older brother's sitting next to me, we're going to get through this pretty quick, the two of us, that kind of thing. So I could do all this virtually. What we've created, this is what we came up with for COVID. When the robots were at school and the kids weren't, we came up with this little area here that the kids are going to run around. They can do all our lessons and all of our little challenges in this little virtual world. And if I zoom out, there's even a grid on the floor, so you can move from point A to point B, that kind of thing. It's useful. It's very helpful for sandboxing, sending home homework if you decide to do that sort of thing, or in this case, just practicing your way through the lessons without the need for a physical robot. So you can basically have the kids practice virtually before you ever let them connect to a physical robot. This is something you're going to have with your subscription once you get everything set up. Okay, it's kind of fun too. All right, Stop sharing there. I saw something in the chat. Is the 4-5 training tomorrow the same as 2 days? Yes, as a matter of fact, it will be. What I might show tomorrow that I'm not showing today is one of the more advanced apps we call Wonder. If you are working with the 4th and 5th graders, it wouldn't be something you would get to until later on. But we do have an advanced app that does, it makes programming a little trickier, but it's more fun for the older kids to do longer things, especially our competition and stuff like that. Good question.
Cool. That is a good question. Cool. Dr. Pollen, doesn't seem like we have any questions. Any?
This is good. I'm telling you that it just shows how good I am at presenting all this stuff. I leave no
Oh,
stone unturned,
please,
and there's
no,
no
please. Geez, you're not even gonna be able to get in your office again. Wow. But maybe, maybe Florida teachers are a lot smarter than a Massachusetts guy and a Chicago guy.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Plus
about
their
it.
weather's a hell of a lot better.
Oh, there's no doubt about that either.
The cool thing, and I really want to reiterate this is a fundamental robot that is being used successfully across tons of elementary schools across the country. It is very durable. And which is good to see, and an excellent product. And there's a lot of different help that they have in the Class Connect world, which will help you guys put together lessons for your kids and things like that. But I do agree 100% with Tim. Getting those puzzles done gives them the basic capability to understanding the robot, not only for them, but also for you.
Yep.
And so that virtual robot, the thing I like about it is, I didn't have a robot at home, but I could go home and play a little bit just to make sure I understood some of the concepts. So, cool.
Well, if there are no other questions, I will take the time to thank each and every one of you for joining us today, because I know you guys are busy. I know you got a lot on your plate, and taking an hour out to listen to somebody about something you got to do, I appreciate it. I taught for a long time. I know time is valuable. Thank you.
Yeah, and this is Payload. I also want to thank you. One of the things that's going to be happening is once you go through the self-paced training, we will have a couple other kind of webinars. Will be just Q&A, like once a week, just to check in. They'll be optional, but someone could call in and say, hey, I'm seeing this, I'm not seeing this, etc. But we also think the community of the teachers, you'll start sharing best practices yourselves too. All righty.
Hopefully, yes.
Thank you. So we want to thank everybody. Dr. Pauling, any last comments? We all set?
I believe we're all set. Thank you, everyone, for participating, and enjoy the ride. I think this is going to be something very fun.
Yeah.
Great.
Definitely gonna have a good time.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.